You ever watch something that's supposed to go sideways, everybody's bracing for disaster, practically taking bets on how bad it'll get, and then, against all odds, it turns into one of those moments you carry with you for the rest of your life? That's exactly what happened the day Mia rolled into that rundown shelter with her mom, her wheelchair squeaking on the scuffed tile, determined to meet the one dog every sane adult said to avoid. Yeah, the one they called Titana, name you don't give a poodle. Even the staff, who'd seen plenty of tough cases, were dead serious when they warned her, stay away from that one. But if you think that was enough to stop her, you've clearly never met a stubborn kid with her mind set on something, or a bulldog that's been broken and left behind so many times he stopped believing in second chances. See, Titan was infamous. I'm talking about a bulldog built like a tank, with a scarred-up neck thick as a wrestler's forearm, and those wild, burnt amber eyes that had stared down just about every volunteer dumb enough to linger by his kennel. If you looked at his intake card, scrawled in angry red marker aggressive, use caution, you'd think he was a four-legged landmine. Nobody knew the whole story, just that he'd been found on the edge of town, bones jutting through patchy fur, a chewed-up rope dragging from his neck like a hangman's noose. Even the kindest voices, the softest hands, couldn't get near him. He'd snarl and lunge, teeth bared, body shaking like he was holding back a hurricane. Some nights, when the place got quiet, you'd hear him howling, deep and mournful, and I swear it would chill even the toughest old-timer in that shelter. People wrote him off, said he was too far gone. Some dogs just don't come back. But that's the funny thing about people. They can't always see what's really hurting under all that noise. Enter Mia, small for her age, brown hair tied back with a pink ribbon, eyes way older than any kid should have. When she rolled in with her mom, the staff kind of braced themselves. Sure, you could see the dog's sweetheart, just maybe skip that one at the end. You know the tone? All gentle, but not really giving you a choice. Did Mia listen? Not even a little. The friendly dogs got their moment. A golden retriever licked her fingers. A beagle nearly climbed in her lap with tail wagging, but she kept glancing down the row at the shadow where Titan paced, his cage barely lit. By the time they reached him, the shelter manager actually put herself between the girl and the kennel, one arm out like she could shield her from a tornado. Let's move along, okay? He's not great with visitors. Titan let out a growl, so low you felt it in your ribs, but Mia, she just looked curious. You could almost hear the gears turning in her head. I want to meet him, she said, quiet but certain. Her mom stiffened up. Who wouldn't? But something in that kid's voice, the way she wouldn't look away, made the whole room stop. The world's full of people who back down when things get uncomfortable, but Mia didn't even blink. Finally, her mom just sighed, the kind of sigh that says she's fighting a losing battle, and rolled Mia right up to the bars. Titan's eyes locked onto those wheels, the growl vibrating in his chest like a storm brewing. Easy, Mia whispered. Maybe she meant him, maybe herself. Nobody really knows. The volunteers were holding their breath, half expecting blood, but Mia just started talking. Hi, my name's Mia. I know you don't want me here. I get it. Her hand shook as she reached out, and you could see her mom's knuckles turning white on the back of her chair. Titan watched every movement, head low, ears twitching. Then this is the part that always gets meth growl just faded, turned into this small, tired whine. Like he was saying, fine kid, let's see what you got. I didn't want to be here either, Mia said, voice thick. Well, I got hurt. I thought I'd never be happy again. Titan stopped pacing, his chest heaving, head nearly on the floor. The whole shelter was silent except for Mia's voice. You could see something shifting in him, some ancient sadness giving way to hope, or maybe just relief that someone finally saw the real dog underneath all those scars. She slid her hand through the bars, palm up. Titan inched forward, slow and stiff, until his cold nose bumped her fingers. I swear you could hear a pin drop. Then he leaned in, pressed his giant, battered head into her hand, and let out a sigh so heavy you'd think he'd been holding his breath for years. Tears were flowing, no shame in his staff, Mia's mom, heck, even me just watching it unfold. Mia stroked his fur, gentle as you please. You're not a bad dog. You're just sad, aren't you? Something broke in Titan then, but in a good way. He crawled closer, eyes closed, his big head in her lap. The monster was gone, left behind in the dark with all the pain. For the first time, he let someone in. Mia hugged him, her face buried in that scarred fur, and everyone around just kind of melted. There was a little twist you wouldn't expect when one of the older volunteers misses. Pearson, who'd spent 20 years working with problem dogs, just blurted out, "He's never let anyone touch him before. Not even me." She was crying, which was a sight, believe me. Titan, for all his rough edges, had chosen his person. Maybe that's how it works. Sometimes you don't pick who heals you. You just hold on when it finally happens. The rest was a blur. Papers got signed. Titan walked out beside Mia's chair, slow but proud, his leash slack, head high. The neighbors, who'd whispered about that dangerous dog from the shelter, started to soften when they saw the two of them rolling and strolling down the sidewalk together. Mia's smile, man, it was the kind that could light up a whole street. Titan would stick close, nuzzling her hand, never pulling, just happy to match her pace. You know, there's a lot of talk about second chances and rescue stories, but this wasn't some Disney fairy tale. Mia still had bad days, and Titan still had his ghosts, but they faced them together, quiet mornings on the porch, Titan's big head resting on her lap, both of them watching the world wake up like they'd never get tired of it. Sometimes late at night, you could hear Titan let out one of those low, rumbly sighs, not the mournful howls anymore, just peace. Like he'd finally found home. Here's the kicker. Some folks said the shelter staff took a risk, letting a little girl with a wheelchair get close to a dog like that. Others said Titan was just waiting for the right person all along. Maybe it's both. Maybe it's neither. All I know is in a world that can be hard and unfair, where people and dogs both get written off for being too broken or too much trouble, sometimes all it takes is one moment of crazy, stubborn, unreasonable hope and a little kinnesto change everything. So, what do you think? Was it foolish, brave, or just plain lucky? Ever seen a turnaround like that in your own life? Drop your thoughts below. Let's argue it out. Woe's right, who's wrong, and what does justice even look like when it comes to second chances? And if this story hit you right in the heart, don't just sit there, hit like, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe for more stories that remind us love doesn't care about warnings or scars. It just shows up, stubborn as a bulldog, and refuses to give up.